Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Owen, Deputy Chair of the Board of Governors, and it is my pleasure to declare this congregation open.
Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, your worships, family, friends, colleagues, and of course our graduands. My name is Linda Brady, and it is my privilege to deliver this opening address to celebrate the achievements of our graduands who have studied for qualifications in social work, health and social care, and psychology. I'm also delighted to offer congratulations to Professor Sarah Jane Blakemore, who will be awarded with an honorary doctorate at today's ceremony in recognition of her groundbreaking research into the adolescent brain and the behavioural traits of young people. I was speaking to some graduates yesterday, and like you, they were glowing, a combination, I think, of pride and perspiration, assisted by a little bronzer, of course. But speaking to them reminded me of the range of emotions that come with graduation ceremonies. One person was telling me that she was so excited she hadn't slept a wink the night before. The next person was telling me that she was so nervous her legs were like jelly and she was certain that she was going to fall. Don't worry, we all feel that way. And then the third person was telling me very proudly about her parents who'd been arguing at the photo booth, which is in the hub, over the sign which reads, "She gets her brains from me." And you can all go and argue over the sign later. But it did remind me what a momentous occasion graduation ceremonies really are. You should today feel rightly very proud of your achievements. Today is the culmination of an enormous amount of hard work, not just over the 3 years or however many years you've spent at university, but likely over many years of study to get to university in the first place and to stay here. But we know that you've not made this journey alone, and we know that you're not the only person who's made sacrifices to be here today. For each one of you, there is a story about how you got here and the support that you've had in order to achieve your goal. And much of that support is in the room today. All of these people on my right, parents, partners, grandparents, siblings, friends, these are the people you've shared the highs and lows of your study with, and the people that have supported you through the disappointments and the delighted times. And of course, there's another group of people who've supported you, my colleagues at the university. The most evident of these will, of course, be your tutors, the people that have taken you through the tricky concepts and have kept you going when you thought it was all too much. But there's a whole team of support staff behind your tutors, many of whom you will have encountered, perhaps in student services or in the academic registry or in careers or in the hub. But there are many colleagues who you may not have seen, the cleaners, the ground staff, the night support staff, the security colleagues. Even the people on the front row here make a contribution to the university. And it's the contribution of all of these colleagues coming together as a community, which is crucial, we think, in creating a positive learning environment. There'll be lots of clapping today, as you might expect, but I hope you will show them how it's done when I invite you now to show your thanks to the people that have supported you through your studies. Graduands, please thank your family and friends. Thank you. A few weeks ago, I started to think about what I would say to you today, and I was reflecting on how apparently ordinary people achieve extraordinary things, and I was wondering whether it was possible to identify what's so special about these individuals. At around the same time, I heard the news of the death of Sir Nicholas Winton, who had died on the 1st of July, aged 106. You may have a vague recollection of hearing his name, but equally you are forgiven if you're sitting there thinking, Sir Nicholas who? He wasn't born a Sir, he was just born plain Nicholas. And in December 1938, Nicholas was 29 years old. He was a normal person living a normal, happy life in London as a stockbroker. And he was looking forward to a very well-earned skiing holiday. He was interested in politics, and he was watching the events unfolding in Europe, where 2 months earlier the Germans had invaded to the west of Czechoslovakia. A friend suggested that instead of going skiing, they should go to Prague to see what was really happening. And you'll have to trust that in those days there was no social media or 24-hour rolling news. So in order to really understand what was going on, you had to be there. So he decided to go to Prague and find out what was happening on the ground. Before leaving, Nicholas had been vaguely aware that it was becoming increasingly dangerous for Jews in Europe. But when he arrived, he was shocked to be met with many parents who were desperately seeking help to get their children to safety. Without very much thought at all, he swung into action. He compiled a list of the children's names. He got together with some friends to arrange trains out of Prague, and he then returned to England, where he set about putting in place adoptive homes for the children, raising money so that each of them had the £50 that was required to guarantee their eventual return to Czechoslovakia, and organising all of the paperwork. The first train carrying children left Prague on the 14th of March 1939, 2 days before German troops marched into the remainder of Czechoslovakia. Over the next 6 months, 8 trains left Prague. They were all met at Liverpool Street Station by Nicholas and his mother. A total of 669 children emerged from these trains, frightened and bewildered, having travelled halfway across Europe. A few went to live with family members, but most were dependent on the kindness of strangers. Most never saw their parents again. To us, these events are almost unimaginable, and his actions are nothing short of heroic. Nicholas, however, did not think that his actions were remarkable in any way. Indeed, for decades, he never spoke of them, and his achievements only came to light in the late 1980s when his wife found a scrapbook in the attic. A modest man, he always maintained that anyone in his position would have done the same, and he pointed out that those that stayed in Prague to manage the mission from that end took far greater risks than he did. Indeed, it took a lot of persuasion by his daughter Barbara before Nicholas agreed that she could write his biography. In agreeing it, however, she says he was determined that it should, quote, not promote hero worship or the urge for a continual revisiting of history, but if anything, that it might inspire people to recognise that they too can act ethically in the world and make a positive difference to the lives of others in whatever area they feel strongly about, whether it be international crisis or nearer to home in their own community. And so as you graduate today, I invite you to reflect on what you are taking away with you and the opportunities it gives you. Of course, you will be conferred with your qualifications, which go to demonstrate the mastery of your subject. But that is in many ways the least of what you will take away from your university experience. Whether you recognise it or not, I'm sure the people on my right will see that your time at university has changed you. And I don't only mean the number of times you now think you know better than your parents and grandparents. You will have developed as a person, and you will have developed a range of skills and capabilities that perhaps you are already taking for granted or that you believe everybody has. But you shouldn't underestimate the capabilities and the ability you now have. Things such as leadership, analytical skills, teamwork, resilience and determination. Because actually these are exactly the traits that Nicholas needed to demonstrate to achieve what he achieved. So on one level, he was right when he said that what he did was not exceptional, or at least to point out that many people have the skills and ability to do what he did. Perhaps, however, what marks him out as different were not the capabilities that he had, but the choices that he made. He didn't choose the path that would make his life easier. He chose the path that would make the biggest difference to others. And in so doing, he demonstrated other traits of his personality: courage, compassion, and humility. So whilst your university education has equipped you with a whole range of skills and capabilities, it's also equipped you with perhaps one of life's most precious gifts, the liberty of choice. Throughout your lives, you will be faced with many choices and many opportunities, and some of these will give you the chance to make a positive difference. Of course, for most of us, the difference we make is not life-saving, but it can almost certainly be life-enhancing for both you and those you touch. Whether it's making a positive difference to your family and friends, to your work colleagues, to your local community, or being a role model for those that follow you, you have the power to make a difference and be a force for good. The only real question then is, when faced with your own personal version of the choice, will you choose to go skiing or will you choose to go to Prague? In graduating from Edge Hill University, you are graduating from a university which was founded on the principles of equality and social justice. Being the first teacher training college for women not affiliated to the church, and we hope that as a member of our alumni, you will contribute to this long tradition by using your skills and talents to make a positive difference in the world in whatever way you can. For now, I know the main thing on your mind is not what you will do in the future, but the fact that you have to walk down these stairs and get your own personal congratulations from the Chancellor. And I know that in all of you, this will be inciting some mix of both excitement and of fear. Please do try to remember that this is the culmination of an enormous amount of hard work, and you should be incredibly proud. So try to embrace the excitement and quell the fear if you can. And contrary to popular belief, there is no prize for the person who gets across the red bit of the carpet quickest. You look amazing. Everyone in this room is absolutely proud of your achievements, and so should you be. So take the time to savour this. It is your moment. I will leave you with one further quote from Michelangelo, and that is, "The danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and succeeding." So today, be proud, enjoy your moment, and then go forth, aim high, and make a difference. Enjoy. Thank you.
Chancellor. Professor Sarah Jane Blakemore is a Royal Society University Research Fellow and Professor of Cognitive Neuroscience at University College London. She leads the Developmental Cognitive Neuroscience Group at the Institute of Cognitive Neuroscience there. Professor Blakemore is also Editor-in-Chief of the journal Developmental Cognitive Neuroscience, has published over 100 papers, and is a prolific leading speaker on the subject. That sounds like an awful lot of cognition and neuroscience, and immensely important. It is. Given that, just how qualified is this professor to be doing such vital work and to receive an honorary award from, well, quite frankly, us, Edge Hill, the University of the Year? Well, you be the judge. In researching this citation, I can confirm that as an undergraduate, Professor Blakemore studied experimental psychology at Oxford University, achieving a congratulatory first and the George Humphrey Prize for the highest first achieved in finals that year. Perhaps we can say a reasonable start. She then joined the Wellcome Trust on a 4-year PhD programme in neuroscience at UCL, based at the Functional Imaging Lab, where her PhD was supervised by Professor Chris Frith and Professor Daniel Walpert. Here, Professor Blakemore investigated the self-monitoring of action in healthy individuals and people with schizophrenia. On completion, she took up a Wellcome Trust International Research Fellowship in Lyon, France, with Dr. Jean Decherty on the perception of causality in the human brain. This was followed by a Royal Society Dorothy Hodgkin Fellowship in 2004 and a Royal Society University Research Fellowship in 2007, which she still holds today at UCL. I think we can move on from a reasonable start and perhaps say improving. In addition to her award at Oxford Sarah Jane Blakemore has been awarded a number of prizes for her research, including the British Psychological Society 2001 Award for Outstanding Doctoral Research, Contributions to Psychology, the 2006 BPS Spearman Medal for Early Career Research, the Society for Educational Studies Book Prize in 2006 for The Learning Brain, Lessons for Education. She was the Women in Science, Technology and Engineering Heirloom recipient in 2011, and in the same year received the Distinguished Lecturer in Neuropsychology Award and the Swedish Neuropsychological Society. And in 2013, both the Turing Young Mind and Brain Prize and the Royal Society Rosalind Franklin Award. In China in 2012, Sarah Jane was one of 40 young scientists invited to the annual meeting of the New Champions World Economic Forum and was subsequently elected a World Economic Forum Young Global Honoree 2014. And these are just the highlights. I really don't know what I've been doing with my time over the last few years. After improving from a reasonable start, we can perhaps now move to remarkable. In fact, truly remarkable. Let me explain. Professor Blakemore is responsible for a complete change in thinking and knowledge in cognitive neuroscience in relation to the teenage brain, a field of scientific knowledge that barely existed 13 years ago. Previously, little was really known about how a child's brain develops. The dogma was that brain development was completed in early childhood. Her papers in the 1990s showed that to be completely false. Since then, Professor Blakemore has led and driven exponential growth in a new field of neuroscientific research. It was her discoveries which revealed the intricate and vast development of the adolescent brain on the way to adulthood. Her group's research focuses on the development of social cognition and decision-making during human adolescence and involves a variety of behavioral study, including psychophysics, eye tracking, motion capture, and neuroimaging through MRI, fMRI, and MEG methods. Her research has informed and shaped new approaches and thinking about autism, schizophrenia, the biological influences on social competence, and neurodevelopmental disorders of social cognition, to simply understanding adolescent teenagers better and why they exhibit the behaviors that all of us here would recognize and relate to. It is this latter body of work that she is perhaps most famous for. Professor Blakemore defines adolescence as the period of life that starts with the biological, hormonal, and physical changes of puberty and ends at the age which a person attains a stable, independent role in society. She also contends that teenagers shouldn't be demonized or be the butt of jokes, but they should have our sympathy, and we should be careful how we nurture and teach them. I can only agree and confirm that I've tried to do this with my own teenage sons, albeit through gritted teeth on many an occasion, I have to confess. However, the greatest abilities of a brilliant researcher are not just found in intellectual endeavour, or the different lenses of curiosity, analysis, and intelligent thought that leads to the creation of greater knowledge and understanding, but the ability to convey that, to communicate not only to fellow researchers in their precise, though to most impenetrable language, but to policymakers, the media, those who profess to know but have misinformed ideology, and to the layperson, you and I. Professor Blakemore frequently gives public lectures, talks at schools, has worked with a select committee for education, and acted as scientific consultant on the BBC series The Human Mind. She gave a TED talk at TED Global in Edinburgh in 2012, which has had over 1 million views. Very recently, in March this year, she joined the distinguished list of scientists to have been interviewed for Radio 4's The Life Scientific. Those include physicist and astronomer Professor Brian Cox, Nobel Prize winner Professor John O'Keefe, and discoverer of the Higgs boson, Professor Peter Higgs. Professor Blakemore's work is admired by many in the scientific community. She's also held in high esteem by her colleagues. Professor Geraint Rees, Dean, Faculty of Life Sciences, University College London, pays tribute to her today, saying, "Sarah Jane is not only an outstanding scientist, and an inspirational communicator, but also a wonderful, empathetic and caring colleague with great leadership skills. Professor Jane Blakemore has that rare ability to blend scientific concepts with our everyday knowledge in an understandable, engaging and captivating manner that draws in the ordinary listener, making complex developments accessible to all. Her thought-provoking and stimulating manner makes mums and dads, carers and teachers, as well as politicians and professionals, pause and think. Therein lies the potential to change behaviours that have a profound effect on young people's lives. To affect one young person's life for the better is a noble and worthwhile thing. To affect untold numbers of teenage lives is to profoundly influence society for its future good, and that is truly remarkable. Chancellor, it is my honour and privilege to present Professor Sarah Jane Blakemore for the award of Honorary Doctor of Science from Edge Hill University.
Well, it's quite an honour giving you this honorary doctorate, particularly because you're also a good friend, so it's a double honour for me. So, by the authority vested in me as Chancellor of Edge Hill University, I hereby confer the award of Honorary Doctor of Science upon the amazing Professor Sarah Jane Blakemore. Congratulations. Thank you so much for taking this from me.
Thank you so much, Chancellor, for this award, and thank you for that beautiful speech. It's a great honour to be here and to share this special occasion with you today. And of course, it's a huge privilege to be awarded this honorary doctorate from Edge Hill University. So as you've heard, I work on the adolescent brain, and I thought for a couple of minutes I'd tell you a little bit about our research. First of all, what is adolescence? You've heard a bit about that already, but let me just explain the definition that we use. So we use the definition of adolescence as the time in life that starts with puberty. So the beginnings of adolescence are defined biologically by the hormonal and physical changes of puberty. And the end of adolescence has a much more fuzzy, vague definition, which is the age at which you attain a stable, independent role in society. So it can go on a long time, and there might be even people in this side of the audience who are wondering whether they might fit that definition still. Now, that definition, you can imagine that definition of adolescence means that there are really large cultural differences between adolescents in different countries. So in our culture, it's really socially acceptable to be living at home and in full-time education right into the 20s and even the 30s these days. And of course, in other cultures, that's not the case at all. And much younger children are expected to go out and earn their own money, so become financially independent and socially independent, like get married and have babies as soon as they can, so as soon as they reach sexual maturity. And some people have argued that this whole concept of adolescence is a sort of recent Western phenomenon invented about 100 years ago in the United States and doesn't really exist as a biological period of development. But I would argue, and lots of my colleagues would argue, that that's not the case, and actually that adolescence does really represent an important and unique period of biological development, both in terms of initially the body, but then very much so the brain. Now, there are three reasons why we think this. We think that adolescence is universal and is present in all humans across the world and always has been. Firstly, if you look across different cultures, you can see adolescent typical behaviours in all these different cultures. So adolescent typical behaviours, things that we stereotypically associate with this age group, so things like risk-taking and self-consciousness and peer influence. You can see them in the West in adolescence, but you can also see them in the same age range in countries where and cultures where the whole concept of adolescence doesn't really exist. If you look across species, you see those adolescent typical behaviours. So, for example, a lot of researchers work on rats and mice, and believe it or not, rats and mice both go through a period of adolescence, about 20 days after they go through puberty and before they become adult, and you can test them during their adolescence. And what you see is that they take more risks, they explore their environment more, and they hang out with other rats more. In fact, there was a study earlier this year published showing that adolescent rats drink more alcohol when they're with other adolescent rats, and that's not the case for adult rats. Also, if you look at historical descriptions of this age group, you see striking similarities with the way we stereotypically think about this age range today. So, for example, one of the most famous quotes about this age group is by Shakespeare from A Winter's Tale. And he says, "I would there were no age between 10 and 3 and 20, or that youth would sleep out the rest, for there is nothing in the between but getting wenches with child, wronging the ancientry, stealing, fighting." So he's picking up, Shakespeare almost 400 years ago is picking up on these stereotypical behaviours that we associate with this age group even now, 400 years later. Another example of this is in a letter that was written to The Guardian a few years ago. So this is a reader writing into The Guardian, and her letter shows that there's nothing like teenage diaries for putting momentous historical events in perspective. So this is the reader, and she says, "This is my diary entry for the 20th of July, 1969. I went to Art Centre by myself in yellow cords and blouse. Ian was there, but he didn't speak to me. Got rhyme put in my handbag from someone who's apparently got a crush on me. It's Nicholas, I think. Man landed on moon." So for this particular teenager, at that particular moment in her life, what was really important to her are things like what she's wearing, who she likes, who she doesn't like, who she's hanging out with, her peer group. Less important is the fact that man happened to land on the moon for the very first time that day. So adolescence, this is what adolescence is all about. It's the period of life where we discover ourselves, and we discover who we are, and we develop a sense of self-identity, and particularly a sense of social self. That is the way other people see us. If you think about your own adolescence, very recently for you guys, not so recently for some of you, but I bet you remember, this is the period of life where you develop things like your fashion sense and your music taste and your moral beliefs and your political beliefs, what peer group you want to hang out with. It's a time where you're basically creating yourself and working out who you are in society and how other people see you. So I've been working on the adolescent brain for the last 12 or 13 years, and I could talk for 2 hours or more about that, but I won't. I've got about 1 minute left. As you heard, until about 20 years ago, we really had no idea how the adolescent brain changes. In fact, the absolute dogma, if you look back at the psychology and neuroscience textbooks from 20 years ago, which I still own mine from my undergraduate degree, they all say that the human brain stops developing at some point in mid-childhood. Well, we now know that is completely false. And in fact, the human brain undergoes very substantial and protracted development right throughout the teenage years and even into the 20s and early 30s. One of the brain regions that undergoes the most substantial changes is called the prefrontal cortex, which is right behind your forehead, just at the front of your brain. It's much bigger in humans than in any other species, and it's responsible for all sorts of human behaviors, things like decision-making and planning, self-control, inhibiting inappropriate behaviors like stopping yourself taking risks, social interaction, empathy, and self-awareness. And we know that that part of the brain is undergoing very substantial development, not only in childhood, but also in the teenage years and the 20s and even the 30s. And we also know that the brain is particularly malleable during adolescence. So the ability to learn new skills and to be creative and passionate are heightened, and that's for biological reasons. And what this means is that the environment that adolescents are exposed to and the opportunities, for example, the educational opportunities and the social opportunities available to them have a profound impact on how their brains developed, how they're shaped. This is relevant to all the young people here because that development and that malleability goes on into emerging adulthood in the 20s. So adolescence is a formative period of life when the brain is changing in really important ways. Neural pathways are malleable, and passion and creativity run high. So we shouldn't demonize this period of life. Often it's demonized. And when I write about the fact that I work on the adolescent brain, if I put anything about the teenage brain, for example, on Twitter, almost invariably I'll get a response immediately saying something like, what, teenagers actually have brains? Or something along those lines. It's really bizarre that this is a period of life, this is a sector of society where it's apparently acceptable to mock and to joke about. It's a weird thing because we don't really accept jokes about other sectors of society, like based on race or gender or, say, elderly people. So we shouldn't mock this period of life. We should really celebrate it. We should celebrate you, because this is a really exciting time with so many prospects and opportunities, a time to celebrate and enjoy. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. The most important single responsibility of any university is to provide high-quality learning and teaching and student support, and it's a responsibility that this university takes particularly seriously. So the university was delighted when 4 years ago the Students' Union, represented here by Patrick Sohn, approached the university and asked if we would consider co-sponsoring a set of awards for those staff, teaching and professional support who had made a particularly outstanding contribution to their learning and to their living experience. In the first year, some 200 nominations were received. This year, that figure exceeded 1,000. And from this vast array of names, just 15 were chosen by a joint university and student union panel. And they are receiving their awards alongside their students at this week's graduation ceremonies. And this afternoon, I'm privileged to announce 4 awards, the first of which is a teaching award to Julie Owen. The second award is to someone who has actually been a past recipient in the last 4 years, and so for that continuity of outstanding teaching practice, Tony Bewley. And the third and fourth awards are to personal tutors, not simply those who perform brilliantly in the classroom, but those who actually show a particular responsibility for a student's personal development and support. And the first of those goes to Professor Philip Murphy. And the second personal tutor award, and the final one this afternoon, goes to another outstanding colleague, Dr. Peter Ledbetter.
Chancellor, on behalf of Academic Board, I present students from the Faculty of Arts and Sciences who are candidates for awards today. For Bachelor of Science with honours in Educational Psychology, Rebecca Amy Brownless. David Cook. Sophie Rebecca Fawkes. Beth Louise Foster. Victoria Jane Goodall. Olivia Helene Guy. Rebecca Harrison. Lucy Elizabeth Howarth. Melanie Joy Hayes. Alexandra Rebecca Holding. Alexandra Patricia Jean Isaac. Katie Lawrence. Kimberly Rose Little. Halima Mohammed. Mary Malone. Andrew Liam Newman. Charlotte Emily O'Hanlon. Charlotte Isabel Paget. Melanie Ratcliffe. Rhiannon Poppy Rice. Alice Marie Steele. Callum Andrew Waite. For Bachelor of Science with Honours in Psychology, Mailan Ahmed. Sophia Ahmed. Ifeoluwa Akintitan. Rebecca Alder. Junaid Ali. Rachel Elizabeth Andrews. Jessica Ashworth. Sophie Atkinson. Samantha Evan Bedson. Amy Bell. Samantha Louise Betteridge. Jessica Birch. Callum Stephen Bodfield. Dale Bowden. Samantha Elizabeth Briggs. Shona Brown. Charlotte Brown. Sophie Bianca Burgess. Chelsea Campbell. Charlotte Rose Carlisle. Joseph Robert Cotton. Rebecca Margaret Crellin. Gareth Andrew Cresswell. Evan Critchley. Sophie Marie Cunningham. Amy Louise Dan. Charlotte Davey. Shona Mary Emily Durkin. Joshua Duxbury. Abigail Evans. Luke French. Hayley Louise Gaskell. Jason Charles Giles. Jessica Ellen Gill. Hannah Louise Golland. Liam Richard William Griffiths. Rebecca Louise Grimes. Magdalena Maria Gutz. Ellen Harney. Sarah Louise Harwood. Jessica Hay. Callum Sean Heathcote. Simon Dale Hepworth. Marion Hazel Holmes. Annalise Hughes. Lisa Jane Hughes. Mimi Jackson. Olivia Johnson. Ashley Louise Jones. Eloise Jane Jones. Hannah Frances Kelly. Shilpa Kunti. Lauren Kinsella. Charlotte Rose Kirk. Adam David Latham. Kirsty Rebecca Latham. Jessica Lee. Alice Margaret Littler. Irene Elizabeth Locko. Hannah Ashley Madden. Camilla Marlick. Jodie Louise Malpass. Kaylee McCann. Nikki Lauren Mercier. Laura Joan Murphy. Emma May Oppenshaw. Jennifer Rolls Oulton. Olivia Rose Murphy Porter. Alan Price. Courtney Jean Reid. Kelly Riley. Melissa Jade Richardson. Christian James Richings. Nia Elizabeth Mary Roberts. Nicole Robertson. Chloe Megan Sinclair. Cameron Lewis Garfield Smith. Amy Louise Southern. Matthew Stewart. Elizabeth Rose Stratford. Jade Louise Street. Victoria Summers. Jade Sunley. Yasmin Turner. Jessica Amelia Vella. Anthony West. Scott George Alexander Wilkie. Emily Williamson. Rebecca Ann Woods. For Bachelor of Science with honours in Sport and Exercise Psychology, Joseph Richard Francis Crook. Emmanuel Dulaweo. Naomi Elizabeth Clare Eads. Jabran Mahmood. Sophie Louise Perry. Chloe Price. Sean Smith. Lauren Naheem Wahidi. Luke Ashley Wild. Lauren Wright. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of students from the Faculty of Arts and Sciences.
Chancellor, on behalf of Academic Board, I present the students from the Faculty of Health and Social Care who are candidates for awards today. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Counselling, Lenina Anne Elizabeth Main. Alex McDonough. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Health and Social Wellbeing, Kerry Ann Doran. Danielle Zoe Dunn. Natasha Leanne Kira Gilmore. Laura Rose McEwen. Catherine O'Donnell. Amy Oliver. Amy Rimmer. Rebecca Ann Bridget Westwood. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Social Work, Nicholas Bolger. Ella Brown. Natalia Louise Cronley. Sean Daly. Julianne Duran. Joanna Marie Duckworth. Michelle Forrester. Rebecca Garside. Sharon Hill. Chloe Louise Holland. Sarah Helen Hortop. John Ray Jackson. Anna Lee Jameson. Paula Marie Lee. Chancellor, the following candidate was a recipient of the Chancellor's Award Scholarships in 2013. Russell John Lewis. Chancellor, the following candidate was a recipient too of the Chancellor's Scholarship in 2013, Jane Lowe. Simon Derek Lowe. Lisa Louise Moore. Angela O'Connor. Shirley Ann Parkinson. Amanda Jane Paulhill. Lindsay Rachel Wallace. Amanda Jane Webber. Nicola Wilson. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Child Health and Wellbeing, Annabel Jane Burns. Joanna Leslie Cheatham. Nazneen Ishmael. Natalie Louise Jones. Linos Kenyon. Alexandra Kershaw. Anisha Kirby. Chancellor, the following candidate has also been awarded the Study Prize for the joint highest mark in a dissertation from the Faculty of Health and Social Care, Fahana Kotwal. Melissa Jade Parr. Megan Claire Povell. Jodie May Roberts. Lucy Amanda Russell. Helen Sharples. Jasmine Kate Waldron. Chancellor, the following candidate has also been awarded the Study Prize for the joint highest mark in a dissertation from the Faculty of Health and Social Care, Demi Laura Wellington. Ashley Woozy. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Complementary Therapies, Lance Fletcher. John J. Bessasai. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Health Sciences, Josephine Ann Clutton. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Integrated Children and Young People's Practice, Yugo Chiku Chikuka Anagor. Liam Callum Foster. Corin Gibson. Anya Louise Goodman. Catherine Rebecca Lowe. Denise McLaughlin. Jessica Rose Monaghan. Sarah Frances Murphy. Lorraine Elizabeth Mert. Christopher O'Toole. Kerry Elizabeth Price. Bethany Quirk. Heather Ross. Stephanie Jane Ryan. Charlotte Elizabeth Simpson. Stephanie Jane Wright. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Management and Supervision of Offenders, Kelly Jane Wilson. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Nutrition and Health, Melissa Darg. Betty May Deary. Gemma Fletcher. Hannah Hodson. Nicola Michelle Holden. Valerie Hudson. Chancellor, the following candidate has also been awarded the study prize for the joint highest mark in a dissertation from the Faculty of Health and Social Care, Razel Kermelik Lomax Mintz. Paul Lynch. Jessica Parr. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Support for Families and Communities, Emma Mitchell. Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and Health, Zara Ann Ayrton. Foundation Degree Science in Public Health, Imran Hussain. Chancellor, the following candidates studied for their award at Holy Cross College. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Health and Social Wellbeing, Nicola Ann Smith. Jacqueline Ann Taylor. Chancellor, the following candidates studied for their award at Preston College. Foundation Degree Arts in Counselling, Francesca Chandler. Julia Durney. Elspeth Grant. Tina Jones. Claire Lambert. Nicola Lord. Caroline Dawn Penston. Ian Fraser Sanderson. Karen Ann Size. Jane Sutcliffe. Chancellor, the following candidates studied for their award at Shrewsbury College: Foundation Degree Arts and Counselling, Emma Marie Lewis. Chancellor, the following candidates studied for their award at St Helens College: Foundation Degree Science and Complementary Therapies, Hayley Jane Boyd. Barbara Lynn Duckworth. Maxine Johnson. Rebecca Kearney. Pamela Ann Mortimer. Bertha Ara Bessa-Mukit. Jessica Catherine Unsworth. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of students from the Faculty of Health and Social Care.
Degrees yet. All I've done is shake an awful lot of really sweaty hands. Disgustingly sweaty, I have to say. But it's a pleasure as always. Would you like me to confer the awards on them? Why not? That's why we're here. What about you guys? Do you want to have them or do you want to start again? We'll do them now. Okay, well this is it. So this is the moment you have worked, absolutely slogged your guts out for. You've all worked really hard. For some of you, you've told me it's a dream come true. I'm incredibly proud of you all. I'm proud to be your Chancellor. So focus and capture this moment, because this is a real milestone in your development, in your achievements, in your life. By the authority vested in me as Chancellor of Edge Hill University, I hereby confer the Edge Hill University Awards for which you have been presented, and I congratulate you all. Hats off and wave them in the air. Well done. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tanya Byron. I am Chancellor of Edge Hill University. For those of you who don't understand how universities work, the best way for you to understand my role here as Chancellor is just think of me as the Queen of the university. And really don't think I'm joking. I'm not. Ask them. Yes, I am the Queen, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you here today to my kingdom, which you may or may not know, but even if you do, I'm going to tell you again. We are, this year, University of the Year. Yes! Every year is a special year for us here at Edge Hill, and graduations are particularly special. My role as Chancellor is to be the public face of the university, to do the media, the press, to do meetings and all those sorts of things to help people know who we are and invest in us and want to be with us. And I talk about us both here nationally at home and internationally, and I'm very proud to be the ambassador of a university, as you heard from my colleague Linda, that has its roots tracing back over 125 years ago, being the first teacher training college for women. And here I am wearing the colours of the suffragettes. So this is a university that's about inclusion, it's about social change, it's about innovation, and it's about training the brightest and the best to do and be the best. And that would be you. And what we do also is that we give honorary doctorates every year to people who are associated with us, either the locality or the university, or through the departments, who we also know are the best. And of course, today is no exception, as we have given an honorary doctorate to Professor Sarah Jane Blakemore, who I'm also very lucky to call a good friend. And thank you, Sarah Jane, for taking the honorary doctorate. It is a huge honour for us. You are seen as being one of the 100 top women in science, and it's pretty obvious why when you heard your life being read out before you earlier. Did it flash across your eyes? I would like to say, in all of that, by the way, she's also got 2 kids. Where'd you find the time? Anyway, so Sarah Jane, for us, is an example of somebody who has taken their subject and run with it. For her, she's an innovator because she has also changed the way we think about the adolescent brain. And for me, as her friend and her colleague, what Sarah does in the brain, I do in behaviour and in the clinical work I do. And between the two of us, we advise government on policy and investment in child and adolescent mental health. So there you see where academics and clinicians can bridge the gap together. And one day, you will do those things yourselves. For me, the joy in my work and what I do is getting to be Chancellor of an amazing place like this, getting to work alongside my colleagues here who really are the best at what they do, and getting to have colleagues who then become also good friends like Professor Sarah Jane Blakemore, who, like me, believes passionately in her subject, and we want to make a difference. We want to see a difference for the way we look after children and young people in this country. Despite the fact that 50% of all adult mental health problems will first show themselves by the age of 14, 75% by the age of 23, excluding dementia, only 6% of the mental health budget every year is invested in children and young people. So Sarah Jane and I will spend a lot of time talking about the work we do together to make a change. And that's what the suffragettes did. They made a change. And that's what Edge Hill did when it opened its doors to women for the first time to train as teachers. They made a change. And so today, I want to inspire you all to make changes. You've made a change to your lives. You're here. And in fact, there's one lovely lady here, the lady I hugged just towards the end, who said to me, "This is a dream come true. I've been wanting to do this since I was 16, and I've finally done it, and next year I'm 60. You've made a change, and you've inspired everybody, and you have made your dream come true, and it's a privilege to be the person that was there to shake your hand when it happened. To all of you, you are now graduating from the University of the Year. We are judged to be the best in terms of who we are, what we do, and how we deliver to those of you that we teach and train and support and nurture. If you, in the future, have a moment where suddenly this moment seems really far away, this really special moment in your life where you know it is about you, there is nothing negative you can say about yourself apart from, I did it, and you have, and I have given you those awards. But in the future, when you're in your careers or you're moving forward in your research or whatever it is you're doing in life, and life starts to make you feel less good than you are now, because sadly that's what happens sometimes, or you're in careers that feel really difficult, in difficult circumstances with challenging populations, as many of you will go into via psychology and social work and health and social care, and I salute you for choosing those professions.
come back to us. Come back here, and we will remind you of who you are, and we will help you get back the feeling that you have now, because this is who you are, the determination and the hard work that has got you here, whether it was from school for some of you, as mature students for other of you, or it's taken you from 16 to 60. However you've done it, and we'll always hold on to that for you, and we are your place to come back to if you ever lose sight of that. I'm extremely proud of you. I'm honoured to be your Chancellor, and it's been a real privilege to give you your degrees and your awards today. So on behalf of myself, your Chancellor, and the entire cast of Harry Potter, I'd like to say have a fantastic day, and thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a song for our graduating class of 2015, will you please welcome Miss Lucy McHale?
Thank you, Lucy. That was beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have all enjoyed today's ceremony. Can I point you to refreshments which are now available in the hub? And we all wish you a safe journey home. I now declare this congregation closed.